The Missing Children's Organization says 124 children have been reported missing in the year ending April 2018. Many of them have been kidnapped and trafficked, while some ran away from home. Fortunately, many of those who go missing are found, but the emotional trauma may never be erased. 2 young women who were recently abducted, they were drugged and used as sex slaves, bravely shared their story with SABC News reporter Chantal Gouws. Chantal is in studio with us now to tell us a little bit more about this story and what it was like talking to these girls. Chantal, thank you very, very much for talking to us. And
thank you, Leanne.
Yeah, welcome to Morning Live. It's good to have you here. I mean, this is always a difficult story to tell. It really is. When you're catching up with these young girls who've been abducted, children are going missing daily here in South Africa. But this is a different story. They've actually been found. But talk to me about it. What actually happened?
Right. For the sake of protecting their identity, we've changed their names. The first girl is 15-year-old Leslie, as I've named her. She disappeared from her home in broad daylight. And apparently, surrounding the case, there are very detailed information that I will not disclose as yet. Yeah. But apparently, she was found the next day by community and by her family. And what she can recall, because from the moment that they abduct the girls, at that very moment they are drugged for the sake of, memory loss, that they would not remember where they were, their surroundings. She was found the next day, fortunately. She was unresponsive, but she was alive. What the family has gone through is unimaginable. What she can recollect is the moment that she woke up from the state of being drugged, which was basically in the hands of her father. Everything surrounding the incident that happened in the house, nothing can be recollected. So even the events surrounding that is that no charges can even be made because the person has to be responsive and, have good memory for them to actually determine what type of charge can be laid. So that is also the stress and the trauma that you have to face at the same time.
It certainly is. I mean, you find yourself in a situation where you're almost helpless, and you come out of it and you are still helpless because you cannot remember. You know that you've been abducted, you know you've been taken, you know you've been drugged, but there is no evidence. Surely blood tests or samples. I mean, have they been to a hospital? Have they been checked out?
Drug tests were done on her. They've determined various types of drugs were found in her system. Yeah. She is under the care of Child Protection Unit at the moment. She's getting care from Net Care Counselling Services. The case has gone to a level where the NPA has to be involved, has to be drawn in, because from the police efforts, everybody feels helpless. And the reason that I also brought this to the fore is that you have to go to the highest level. You have to find that voice and proclamation within yourself to say, this needs to be attended to. Because besides the trauma and the event, what happens afterwards, or the effects of the family, those that are supporting you and surrounding you at that moment, you feel helpless.
Absolutely.
And all that you can do is rely and reach out to authorities that are supposed to be there and that are mandated to protect citizens of our country.
Was there any incidents of sexual abuse on these girls?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Both of them have been, they've been open about what has happened.
Yeah. In terms of, I know we're protecting their identity, so I won't ask you to divulge too much about them, but perhaps you can give us a bit of an understanding of what age group we're talking about. How young are these girls?
Well, the first one is 15.
Yeah.
The second one is 30. I mean, they are still at a prime age, an age that's vulnerable, innocent.
Yeah.
Should I go to the next one?
Please,
the second one,
absolutely.
The second one, we'll call her Nadine. She was innocently waiting for a lift from a friend to work. And apparently the friend that she bumped into, and she's described as, we haven't seen each other for a long time. And he said, no, I'll take you to work, just wait here. And went into a building, which was staged as a B&B, which she, told us afterwards. And he never came back. He never returned from that very building. Instead, another gentleman came out, grabbed her, and she remained there for 3 days, being sexually tortured. She says they actually feed you energy tablets to keep you going. And she just had to surrender, basically, because of threats of her life. And that's what happens inside. Yeah.
In a case like this, she clearly remembers more. Does she have more of a case? Can she take this and actually try and get some prosecutions? Does she remember anything to take this to a court of law?
Nadine remembers, yes. Her feel towards authorities have dampened. She is so broken. She does not have any faith. She doesn't have any faith. The case was made, yes, but I don't think she even has that strength to want to go further.
Yeah.
In the clip that we played, she actually says, I do not trust, because she has witnessed that authorities, policemen, that enter this place as well.
Yeah.
And do the very thing to these girls.
Oh, okay.
So for fear of actually going further and speaking out, that is what she's facing at the moment.
So the story and the spiral gets even more complicated, because now there's implications of police involvement in all of this. These stories that you're covering, and this is obviously 2 young women who've been brave enough to talk out, but these are not isolated cases. I mean, I think we're highlighting something that is a demon in our society right now.
Exactly, Leanne. It's a scourge. It has spiraled out of control. Women are seen as entities now. They are just seen as a piece of meat. And I think if we get to a point where the value system, morals are being brought back in our society, then that gives you a little bit of faith to say, okay, you are valued. This cannot happen to you. But we have degenerated so much in a society where the next person is like, it's not my problem, Yet it is. We've seen the shutdown march, the total shutdown march, where women are crying out. We are crying out, literally crying out. And we are the ones that's the nurturers, that's supposed to be protected. But we are out there and being trampled on, So what else if authorities are not actually saying, you know what, we are there for you? And I feel it just shows the leadership, the mandate that our police have not even tapped into to say, we are caring for this generation and we will give you that hope. But like I said, all we can do is be a voice of proclamation, be the sound out there. But besides that, also just to give a face to what is happening to our girls.
I mean, we're entering into Women's Month now, and obviously, it's now given more of a platform. We talk about it more, we look into it, we cover these stories, we see marches like we saw yesterday, memorandums are handed over, and we may be given a little bit more airtime than we normally would do, but there's nothing to celebrate about that. There certainly isn't, and it's something that perhaps I always feel this way, when the month of August doesn't exist, then we know we're okay. But as long as this month exists, we're not okay, because it's something that I think is a major, major problem. And when you're telling me stories about the youth, these are young girls that have now been affected, and for the rest of their lives, you don't get over something like this. This is not something you can say, oh, well, it happened to me, I'm going to move on now. That doesn't happen. You are ruining their lives their families' lives,
Yes.
and everybody going forward. You cover many, many stories, I imagine, and this is not an isolated, as I've mentioned before, incident.
I've gotten into much trouble because of the passion that I have.
Well, tell us more. I mean, what are the kind of things that you see? I mean, these are just two stories.
Most of the past cases where I've actually been dismissed from my previous employment, exposing pastors who are molesting kids. They have creches, they have child facilities, and for me to have stumbled across some of those scenarios has actually, it has broken me in some areas of my life as well, because you think that, that as a society that we have actually degenerated to that. The stories of the pastor, young kids as young as 4 and 5, Leanne.
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes to mind as a journalist, you fear to expose such syndicates, should you say. But when you know there's a purpose, a mission that you need, the bigger picture that you get, that this is a societal scourge and it needs to be addressed. You look beyond. I've come to a point where I look beyond my what I'm going to face. You look at, we need to get this forward. We need to get this out.
Yeah.
And I was dismissed. Threats were made upon my life. I've had to move from place to place because of pastors that have threatened my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just goes on and it goes on. And like I said, we can be a voice. We can march and do as much as possible. But until the authorities, the people on top, can actually sit down and say, you know what, we are part of you, we understand. But
on a final closing note, we need to get to Griselda in Zimbabwe, which we're going to go and get an update quickly. Yesterday or last night, when the president accepted the memorandum,
yes.
How did it make you feel? I mean, did you feel, okay, maybe things are going to be different? Or was it, okay, same old, it's just a good old, yes, we believe in you, another set of, we'll read it, we'll talk it, we take you seriously, and disappear?
When I actually saw that, I thought, okay, what next? What now? It's the same scenario. Like we said, we can have a voice, we can speak, we can march, we can toy. But until we've given a face to the situation, I just felt handing over the memorandum and for him apologizing, actually, that it has come to that point where you have to stand on a platform and apologize to us as women. Why has it actually come to this?
Yeah.
Why do we have to take that drastic step, to lower ourselves, run in the streets, march out there, to say, you know what, men, we do have a voice,
Yeah. Well, listen, you keep on highlighting it, and I'm sure the SABC will keep on playing those stories and highlighting the cause of women. Chantal Gouws is an SABC News reporter. Her passion, of course, is following the plight of women, and particularly young girls and children, who 124 as of April had already been abducted this year. She exposed the story of 2 young girls who managed to escape from their abusers, but they are ruined, and that is the reality. Let's quickly take a break. When we